Hey guys, CryptoDad here again, and today I'm going to show you how to download and install the latest version of the Tor browser. So let's get going. Alright, so for those of you who've never used Tor before, this might be an eye-opening experience. For those of you who have used Tor before, it's basically just an upgrade, no big deal. There's a new version of Tor out, so let's check it out. Let's go over here to the Tor webpage, and this is the version of Tor that is now available for download and install, and we can check it out. Now, there are a few things that crop up when you decide that you want to download Tor. You get into a little bit of a rabbit hole as far as downloading and verifying everything. So let me explain. So when we go to download Tor, it tells us that we can download the Tor browser for Windows, 64-bit, by clicking this purple button, which we'll do. And it's basically pretty much like anything that we decide we want to download. We just hit save, put it on our desktop or in our downloads folder, and we're off to the races. But it's not quite that simple. Tor browser has some additional things down here, which you might choose to ignore. You might just go ahead and run this thing and go along your merry little way. But I always wondered what this was and sort of figured out what it is and how to use it. But it does make for a bit of a complicated process when you want to download and run the Tor browser for the very first time. So what is this thing, this SIG? All right. So if we click on this SIG, you'll see that it's a bunch of gobbledygook. And basically what this is what they call ciphertext. It is encrypted text, basically. And it's got a tag, and a beginning tag and an end tag here. It's a PGP signature. Well, what the heck is that? And how the heck do we use it? All right. So they've got a little thing over here that says, what's this? All right. And it gives us all of this information about how you go about downloading and verifying digital signatures and verifying your downloads and whatnot. Why do we have to go through all of this? Well, the Tor browser is a very special kind of software that gives you a certain amount of privacy and anonymity on the internet. It encrypts all of your traffic. But unfortunately, there may be adversaries out there that would try to trick you into downloading malware or something that is not private and secure and encrypted. And so Tor has a verification process in place. Now, software developers know all about this. It's been around a while, but it does employ complicated cryptography. So I'm going to go through what you need to do to verify the Tor download. And basically for Windows users, what this means is you're going to need to download a piece of software for all of this to work. And the piece of software that you need is GPG for Windows. So I'm going to open up a new tab for this, and that takes you over to the GPG for Win 3.3 release. That's the latest release. So we're going to need that to verify our Tor download. All right, so we're going to install that. We'll do that. I'm going to skip the donation. Right, and we'll just download that. All right, but you may say, if I'm going to use this GPG for Windows to verify my Tor browser, how can I verify the GPG for Windows? Good question. All right, so you might want to download and install GPG for Windows and then use it to verify itself, because they do give you an open PGP signature that you can use to verify this particular download. Unfortunately, that is not a very secure way to verify GPG for Windows, because you're using an unknown copy of GPG for Windows to verify itself, and that could be troublesome, right? So this open PGP signature is for people that are already running an earlier version of GPG for Windows. Okay, So, but what we can do is use a SHA-SUM checker to verify this 256 SHA. And that's pretty straightforward. It's not going to give us total verification cryptographically as the public-private key cryptographic verification signature process does, but it's pretty darn good. All right. And that's the best we can do because we don't have a copy of GPG for Windows that's already running. So there's the SHA-256 that the developers generated when they built this installer. We just need to make sure that our installer generates that same 256 hash. And how do we do that? Well, we can use a SHA-SUM checker, which I happen to have. There are many SHA-SUM checkers out there. You can do it on the Windows command line. You can do it with different types of SHA-SUM checkers. There are some online SHA-SUM checkers. This one in particular I like because it has this paste feature, which makes it easy to compare the two. So the first thing we want to do is generate a SHA-SUM. So I'm going to choose Browse, and I'm going to go over to my desktop, and I'm going to choose that GPG for Windows, and I'm going to choose Open. And there's the SHA-256 that it just generated. C3C, and it ends in 034. Let's take a look at that website. Is that it? C3C, and it ends in 034. It's pretty close, all right? So, but why eyeball the entire thing when we can just copy this one, the one we want to compare, and paste it in here and see if it matches the one that we generated locally. We'll hit verify, boom. All right, so we've done our verification of the software, verification software. I know, it's a little weird, all right? So now we can safely go ahead and install GPG for Windows. All right, and so you can see I'm running the installer here, and it's found that I have a version already on here. So it's gonna do an update, which is fine. And if you've never used it before, then you know, it'll obviously be your first time install. Now, one thing that I will point out is that I like to use this GPA right here. So if it's not ticked, go ahead and tick it. I'm not too sure what this browser integration does. I'm not going to worry about it. All right, so we'll hit next, install, and let it do its thing. All right, so when installer finishes, it says run Cleopatra. I don't really care for Cleopatra myself. I like to use the command line version. So I'm just going to untick this and choose finish. The reason I don't like Cleopatra is that it gives me a strange message when it gives me a strange message when the developer keys are not totally trusted, which I'll explain to you in a minute. All right, so what we need to do is now we've got the software that we need in order to verify our Tor. So basically we've been doing a little prep work, right? So there's our Tor browser installer. So we need to verify it cryptographically. All right. So we'll go back over here to Tor, and we'll go back over to the download. And then this time we're going to get that SIG. And there are two ways to get this SIG in a file. I can click this and go to my browser and choose save, but I don't believe Brave lets me save. So some browsers will. I believe Chrome will, right? But an easier way is just right click on this and choose save link as, and it'll even name it and give you the proper file extension. It's the same name as the installer with a .exe and a .asc at the end, right? And I'm going to save it on my desktop right next to the Tor browser installer. All right, and then we can just look here, and there we go. So we've got the Tor browser, and we've got the Tor installer right there. Now, we could use these two to go ahead and run the verification. The only problem is there's another little piece that's missing, and that is the developer signing key. And I know it's a bit complicated. That's why I'm here. All right, so we need to get the developer signing key and add it to our own personal keychain. All right, and so over here on the what's this, we can go down a little further where do I get the signatures and the keys that made them, right? We go over here to signing keys. All right, and they give you a little description here. The signing keys we use are, okay? So the Tor browser developers, and they give their key, and then a few of the other developers, and then it says sign the Tor browser releases, which is what we're interested in. There are some other developers with their own keys for the different other software that they may release, but we're interested in the Tor browser release. All right, so we're going to use this key, and it starts with a 0x. Now we don't need that when we use GPA, which is the keychain manager, right? Which is, I mentioned that you probably should download or install during the install process. So it's going to launch. It's going to ask you if you want to generate your own personal key. We don't need to worry about that right now. We're not encrypting software. We're just testing other software that's already been encrypted. All right, and so we want to add the Tor developer signing key to our list of keys. You'll notice that I already have some keys here, but I don't have the Tor browser developer key in this list yet. So we'll go over here to server, hit retrieve keys. All right, so that's the Tor browser developers key. We're going to go back over here to our, we're going to paste in the Tor browser developers key there. That's the piece of the key that came after the OX, right? We'll hit OK, and we need to wait a few minutes. Now, I have had a couple of my viewers that have told me that this key does not work. And I just tried it this morning, and it did work. And I'm going to try it again now and see. It may time out. I think that's what's happening. I think the Tor browser key server is maybe getting overloaded with all the people that are downloading their keys right now. Who knows? But it did work, as you see. I got one public key read, one public key imported. So that is the public key of the Tor browser developers. We can also see their fingerprint, right? And if we're not sure if this is the right key, we can always check this fingerprint to the one that's on the website. So let's scroll down here to Tor browser developers. Here we go. All right. And where is the fingerprint? There we go. That thing. And let's go back over here and compare the two. So we got an EF6E with an 8290. So we can verify that we've got the right signing key because we verified the fingerprint. There are other more vigorous ways to do this verification, but that's pretty good as well. So now we know we got the signing key. Now we know we have the proper software that we can use to run this verification. Let's do it, right? So these are the two files that I'm going to use in this process. So I'm just going to go ahead and shift, right click, and open PowerShell window here. That opens the PowerShell window in the desktop folder where those files are. I'm going to hit dir. Those are the two files that I want to verify. So the first thing we want to do is make sure that the GPG for Windows has installed a copy of GPG on my computer, right? So we can go GPG -- version. All right, and you should get this. You should get a message telling you that you have GPG installed on your system, right? Now we want to do a verify. So we're going to do a GPG and -- verify. And what are we going to verify? We want to verify the installer. So I'm going to highlight, and then I'm going to hit Control-C to copy, so I don't have to type this whole thing out. I'm going to hit paste, right? Verify, and the way this command works, I give it the signature file first, and then the signature file, and then the name of the file that I want to verify, which is exactly the same in this case, except I don't need that ASC. Just makes it quicker, right? So there we go. We've got our GPG. We want it to do a verify, and we want to use that SIG file we have downloaded that's in the right folder, and we want it to verify the installer file that we just downloaded. So let's see what happens. All right, it's going to think about it a minute, and boom. There, that's what we're looking for. Good signature from Tor Browser developers, signing key, right? That's basically what we're after. Now, we can safely ignore this warning. Like I said, there are more vigorous ways to verify that the signing key is owned by the Tor developers. We have every reason to believe so. We downloaded it from the Tor Browser website, but then again, they told us that someone might be imitating their site, so it could be a ruse, a complicated ruse. But there are more vigorous ways of doing this so that you will not get this warning. But we're not going to worry about that. We've verified it about as good as it needs to be verified, right? And like I said, some of you may choose to skip this step entirely and just download that Tor browser. You're welcome to do it. All right, so I just double-click the Tor browser installer, and it wants me to choose my language, and it wants me. I'm going to go ahead and install in the default location. And as you can see, it basically just threw it on my desktop because I think that was the last place that I downloaded. And I'll go ahead and hit finish. I'm going to go ahead and run and let it add it to my desktop menu. Although I will probably move this because I don't like stuff on my desktop. But that's besides the point, right? So we'll hit finish. And it's going to launch the Tor browser for the first time. All right. Now you can choose connect for the default connection method, but I'm going to choose configure. I want it to be a little bit more rigorous, right? So I'm going to pretend that Tor is censored in my country, which it is not. And I've got this select built-in bridge, which I can do, which I'm happy with. It will select a bridge for me. There are other ways to get bridges. We're a little more complicated. And I do not use a proxy to connect to the internet, so I'm just going to type. Oh, I'm sorry. All right, it looked dim. I thought it was going to just choose it for me. So it will choose for me if I tell it what type, right? I'm just going to use OBFS4. I've heard that it's better. If there's any dissension or comments, let me know. And there we go. Now I'm going to hit connect. And here we go, starting Tor browser. Now this is version 8. It's the latest version. And there we go. We got the nice Tor browser going. So this is the new interface. It's basically built on top of the Firefox engine, which is an open source browser by Mozilla. And so there's a lot of features of that. And it uses the DuckDuck search engine by default, which does not gather any personal information. And then they have a link to the Tor browser manual, which gives you some tricks, pointers, tips on how to browse securely and privately and anonymously using the Tor browser, right? And that's it. So you can get going and that'll be your starting point. Now I'll point out that if you are using Tor, your communication is encrypted between you and the website. But it has to be a Onion website. It has to be a Tor website for it to the traffic to be encrypted between you and them. If you're just going on the ClearNet, if you're just pulling up, say, apple.com with Tor browser, they won't know who you are, but it'll be obvious on their end that you're using Tor, and if they send you back any information, it won't be encrypted, right? So you have to be communicating on Tor Onion websites for the full effect of this to get the full effect of the Tor browser. Then I will also point out that if you're using Tor browser, that your ISP, Spectrum, AT&T, Verizon, whoever you're using for your internet, it's going to be obvious to them that you're using Tor. So it's not really totally private, because they can see that you're using the Tor browser, which might be a red flag in some countries. All right, so just for giggles, let's go over here to Onion Services and see what they've got in store for us here. So an onion address will end in .onion, pretty obvious. Now we can go to DuckDuckGo's onion service. So we'll just click that link there, and you'll notice that it takes us, well, when it connects, that now we're on a onion website, right? And we can do a search. Let's say we want to search for history, whatever our search is. As you can see, this is mostly going to take us to ClearNet sites. So let me take you to I'll go ahead and take you to a website that I know is going to give you some onion choices, right? So this is called the Hidden Wiki. We'll just do a search for that. And let's see if there's... So let's try this link here. And usually what I'll do first, as you can see, this is a ClearNet site. It has a .com at the end of it. So I'm going to go down here where it says the Hidden Wiki and choose this onion address. So we'll click that. All right, so it has pulled up an onion address that's asking me if I'm looking for the Hidden Wiki. So I'm going to click that link. Alrighty, so we've managed to find the Hidden Wiki with an onion address. See, it says .onion. So now we know that we are in fact on an onion site, which is an encrypted site. So the traffic between myself, my browser, and this web page is totally encrypted on both ends, right? And so there's a lot of stuff that you can check out here. Some of it's savory, some of it unsavory. I'll leave that up to you. And then notice here that they have the new Hidden Wiki 2018, which is actually the same one. If you look up here, it's the same address. So we've managed to find it. So now that we'll just click it again. It'll take us to the same thing. Or does it? All right, close enough. All right, so it took us to their main page, whatever. And so then you could bookmark it if that's what you're. It's a good starting place to find stuff on the Tor network. And like if you're not aware, the deep web, what we call the deep web, can only be, and there's different connotations. Some people call it the dark web. Some people say there's a difference between the dark web and the deep web. Whatever, it's web pages that can only be accessed through onion addresses. And according to lore, or facts, or fake news, or whatever you want to call it, there's a lot more content on the deep web than there is on the surface web, which we frequent on a day-to-day basis. So there's a lot to explore. There's a lot to discover, but be careful. It's not without its pitfalls. So I'll leave it up to you. So I've gone through the main steps to download, verify, and install and use the Tor browser. So I hope everyone got something out of this video. If there are any questions, please put them in the comments and I'll do my best to get back to you. I would like to remind everyone that I do have a live stream every Friday night, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Please join me for the live Q&A in LA. Sit back, relax, throw out your questions, and I'll do my best to answer and or troubleshoot your problems. So hope to see you there. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, I would appreciate it. When you subscribe, there's a little bell that will allow you to be alerted whenever I post new content. Once again, thanks for joining me and hope to see you again soon.